morning, West Virginia University at Parkersburg. Good morning, Riverhawks, and Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. It's an exciting time to start a new semester. I hope that you had a nice holiday season. I hope that it was special for your family, even though it was different than any holiday season that we've had in recent memory. But I'm just so glad that we're back here together this morning. I'm not going to be doing singing in the rain, or there's not going to be a marching band or any of the things that I might have become known for at these celebrations over time. But it's no less of a celebration this morning. And in fact, I think that I've got something much more meaningful and much more useful and exciting for you this morning. I've got a panel of distinguished West Virginia University at Parkersburg students who are here. And I don't think it's any secret to anybody in this zip code and probably far beyond that my view is the students are the whole reason that we're here. They are the center of who we are. They are the center of what we do. And every action that we take needs to be with their best interest at heart. I really want to commend the faculty and the staff for the hard work that has been done during the pandemic to make things still available and to make things meaningful and accessible for our students. It's proven to me that everybody here feels the same way that I do about the focus being on students. Before we get started this morning, I want, if you will, for you to indulge me in us taking just a moment to remember in memory all of the people that we have lost in this past year. We've lost people as a nation due to COVID-19, and we've lost people as a community, both employees, family members of employees, retirees, for lots of reasons. And it's been a real season of loss this past year, and a lot of us have felt it very profoundly. So if you will, before we get started with the program, take a moment with me of silence to remember those that we've lost and to think about and send strength to those who are suffering because of the pandemic right now, and to honor the commitment and the sacrifices of the frontline workers who are trying to protect us during this pandemic. So let's take a moment of silence, if you would. Thank you all for that. And may we lift each other up as a community, as we always do. And may we approach 2021 with hope and confidence, even as we continue to do it in a safe and socially distanced way. No university, I am convinced, in the whole of the world is more blessed or fortunate with a board of governors than West Virginia University at Parkersburg. These are people who volunteer. These are people who aren't paid a dime for always showing up for us and being the leaders of our university. And they are represented this morning by our distinguished chair, Donna Smith. And I'm going to invite Donna to say a word of greeting to you on behalf of the Board of Governors this morning.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you always for your very kind and supportive words. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of your Board of Governors, I would like to thank each and every faculty and staff person with us today, and those that aren't, for their commitment and your commitment to providing the best possible educational experience for our students during this pandemic. I'm sure this environment has challenged you in ways you have never been challenged before, and yet you continue to respond with novel and creative ways to face those challenges and get the job done. To our student panelists, I appreciate your willingness to be here today and to give us your perspective on how well we are doing and how the pandemic has challenged your pursuit of your education. We want you to have the access and support you need to achieve your educational goals, and your participating today will help us do that. So I wish everyone a very informative and productive professional development week. I appreciate the opportunity to participate today, and I certainly look forward to seeing you all in person someday so we can all be together again. Thank you.
We all do look forward to that, Donna, for sure. Thank you for always being here. I told the students that there were no right and wrong answers to the questions that Dr. Jackson and I are about to ask them. I told them there was nothing in particular that I was hoping that they would say, and that there's absolutely nothing off limits for them to say. I want them to share with us what we've done well as a community to support them. And even more important than that, I want them to share with us as a community what we can do better to support them moving forward. And with that, I want to thank everybody who's worked with me to make this morning possible. And I'm going to ask my co-facilitator, Dr. Jackson, to frame the discussion that we're about to have. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you. I'd like to share a few results that we've had in this fall semester from Ricky the Riverhawk. That's our new chatbot. And we had 96% of our students who opted in to receive text messages from Ricky. What we have done this fall is spend much time trying to figure out how our students are coping with the new environment in which they are forced to learn. We have found out that 93% of our students who responded to Ricky the Riverhawk in the chatbot thought we were doing a good job of handling the COVID situation. They felt safe. 91% of the students who responded said they would continue to persist at WVU Parkersburg despite the obstacles of a pandemic. And when it came to satisfaction with online learning, 65% of those responding said they were satisfied, while 24% were neutral. They did know obstacles. We all know that we are facing obstacles at this point in time. And while financial considerations is one of those, because some people aren't working as many hours or other people in their homes aren't working as many hours, the two things they noticed the most were drive and motivation. It's a little bit harder to have that when you're in an environment where you're not with your classmates all of the time. And the other one was workload. It's much different when classes are switched to an online environment. But instead of just sharing statistics with you, we wanted to give these 5 students an opportunity to share. So what we're going to do first is do a brief welcome. And Shayla, I'm going to start with you. What I would like for you to do is to unmute yourself for a moment. Tell us your name, your major, your year of study, the community in which you live, and anything you'd like to share about your family and why you chose WVUP.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Shayla Griffey, and I'm a senior in the elementary education program. And I'm actually from Charlotte County, but I just recently moved to the Wood County area. And I have a small family and a big family. I just have a little sister. She's in the nursing program for a semester. And my mom's a nurse, and my dad's the state road worker. So I'm kind of the first generation teacher going into this. And I chose WVUP because I love the small knit community. I grew up in a really small community. So I just want to keep that small family factor going on through my education.
Thank you, Shayla. James, would you unmute and also tell us about yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is James Dobbs. I am a strategic communications major, and I'm a senior. I live in Ripley, West Virginia, so I also live in a small community. I chose to go to WVUP so I could be closer to my family.
Thank you, James. Cindy, would you now tell us about yourself?
My name is Cindy Wade. I'm a legal study major. I'm in my senior year. I chose WVUP because of the local community support that I feel that I would have staying home.
Would you like to share anything about your family, Cindy?
I'm a single mother. My mother lives with me, and so the small, tight-knit community is very important to me and surviving and raising my daughter in the environment. WVUP offers the flexibility for me to be able to be a mother and to balance out, working and doing a career. It gives me the flexibility.
Thank you. Joseph, would you tell us about yourself?
Good morning. My name is Joseph Lipke. I'm a freshman and I'm in digital communications. I live in Washington, West Virginia. I chose WVUP because it's close to home and it's very affordable, and it's just really good staff and teaching and everything. I'm living in a family of 6. So my dad is a vice president here. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. Michelle, would you tell us about yourself?
Good morning. My name is Michelle. I'm a junior. I am majoring in criminal justice. I'm originally from Florida. I have 3 kids, age 7, 6, and 4. And I chose WBUP because locally it was the best option when I did my research.
Okay, so we're going to start posing a few questions to you. You can answer in any order, just, speak one at a time would be the polite way to do this. So if nobody starts in the beginning, of course I will call on someone. Outside of your life as a student, what, if any, personal challenges have you and your family faced during the COVID-19 pandemic? For example, has there been any loss of job or income, any childcare issues, homeschooling concerns, health issues related to or unrelated to COVID-19?
I can answer this one. For me, childcare was really hard. For example, when we first started, my kids' daycare wasn't open. So they were doing homeschool at the same time as I was doing classes. So I was trying to pay attention to class while trying to teach them at the same time. It was really hard. And then finally, childcare opened only for them to have a COVID case. So daycare closed completely. I was doing work study, so I wasn't able to go to work. Classes were hard to do. And it was just really difficult for me to manage all of it at the same time, but I managed it.
Thank you, Michelle. Would someone else like to answer that question?
Yes, I would like to answer the question. I have also had a similar experience to Michelle. I have 3 children, 2 of which still attend elementary school. It's not really easy trying to go to school while they're here with me sometimes because their school is closed down for a few weeks at a time. It's also easy trying to find somebody to look after them. It's not hard to find anybody who's currently giving some kind of childcare.
All right, Shayla, how about you?
I feel like my biggest challenge is having to kind of distance from my own family. I did have a positive case in my family, so I couldn't go home for 2 weeks. I had to quarantine down here in my apartment by myself. So that was kind of rough mentally. And I'm a very big family person, so I like to go home every weekend as much as possible. So not being able to just see my family and you want to let them rest whenever they're sick. So I couldn't really call them either. So it was just a challenge being away from them.
Cindy or Joseph, would you like to answer that question?
I kind of face the same issue as James and Michelle. The WVUP was where my daughter attended daycare. So on top of the COVID and everything, it really threw everything in a loop, and trying to, like them, do school and maintain a 3-year-old around the house was quite difficult, but we learned to manage and find the balance. And it, just took a little bit of time and a little bit of, hard work and struggle, just like everybody else. But I think because knowing other people were in the same situation, I think it kind of made things a little bit bearable to push through things.
All right, Joseph, did you have a response before we move on?
It really hasn't affected me a whole lot because our family we never go out and about a whole lot. The only thing like it does is like kind of create tensions to where since we're all stuck in the house, and I have 3 younger siblings, so my mom, she stays at home and she's trying to teach them while I'm down in my room trying to learn. So it's definitely chaotic and stuff, but still like everybody said, we're getting through this together.
You all may wonder why you're seeing such a smile on my face. I'm literally just bursting with pride this morning, at how well our students are overcoming everything that you're overcoming and how well you're representing yourselves. But with a smile, I want you to know I have at least twice that you all have been talking already felt tears coming into my eyes as well when I hear you talk about the sacrifices that you're making for your children, those of you who are already parents. And when I imagine those of you who are not yet parents are thinking about the children that you may have one of these days and the better life that you're trying to build for them by the education that you're getting. So I'm just so proud of all of you this morning. And I want to ask you a question, which is this. You all had to move back in the spring with about a week's notice, and so did your faculty and staff into online education. Fortunately for the fall and then for the spring that's coming, we knew more in advance and were able to give you more notice that that was coming. But how has the challenge of technology enabled learning affected you with all of your classes moving online? And what have you been able to do to overcome the challenges associated with technology enabled learning?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in if that's okay.
Yeah.
So being back in Tyler County, it's a very rural area, so we have very horrible Wi-Fi. But I kind of got lucky living down here at the time because I mean, of course, in the city, it's you're opt to have better Wi-Fi, I guess. I don't know, but I didn't have cell service or anything back home, so being back home would have been very difficult. So I know a lot of my friends are still living in the rural areas without cell service, without good Wi-Fi. So it's kind of a struggle for those who don't have good internet sources. And the school did a great job with having the opportunity to have students come to the parking lot and use the Wi-Fi still. But like I feel like that's a great idea, but at the same time, your car can't be a desk when you're working on multiple things. So it's kind of good and bad, but I got lucky. So
How about some of the rest of you? What has the movement to technology enabled instruction, how's that impacted your learning this semester?
I'll go ahead and answer. For me, it was really hard because my laptop, I've had it for like 8 years, and it was given out on me when we first switched over to online. But then we got that emergency relief, and I was able to take it and get it fixed. So when I got it fixed, my laptop started running smoothly, only for me to start having internet issues. It was awful. But after a lot of talking with Suddenlink, they finally fixed my internet, and I was able to run smoothly. I agree with, I'm sorry, I don't remember her. I agree with her. It was nice that you guys offered the parking lot, but it was also difficult because going in your car, working in your car is really difficult. Not only that, it's gas, trying to travel to the campus and stuff. Maybe like a Wi-Fi booster, if you guys provided that for us at home, that would be awesome for people that didn't have Wi-Fi. They did provide that for my kids, for example, to like help us with people when we didn't have internet, and that was helpful. So just a thought.
Mhm. That's why we're here, to hear those good thoughts and things that we can improve on this semester. Cindy, Joseph, James, anything to add to the conversation about how you've been impacted by online learning?
I will go next if you don't mind.
Mhm.
Fortunately for me, I didn't face the internet issues as some others of my friends and stuff have struggled, because have throughout my experience with going to WVUP, I had online classes. So the transition for me was a little bit better because I already had some classes that were online. So my computer was already set up, and I was blessed as far as that part. And I know a lot of other people have struggled, just like Michelle and Shaylee have said. But like I said, my experience has been good because a lot of the teachers I had already had that online experience, and they've been doing classes online. So the switch over, I think, for me was a little bit easier than some of the others in the transition.
Gentlemen, anything you'd like to add to this part of the conversation?
Yeah, I'll go next. Um, it was kind of like difficult at first because being a freshman, you're going into college thinking, oh, you're gonna be seeing the campus and everything like that, and meeting with peers and professors one on one and stuff like that. And it's just I was a little bit disappointing because I understand how we had to go on online and stuff. But it was hard because I was never used to online, so I had to totally adjust to it. So, but yeah, I'm doing better now. I was lucky enough to be able to get through that for the first semester.
Good,
Not really. I didn't really have as much internet trouble like Cindy. So yeah.
good. James, you want to add anything to that conversation?
Yes, I've also had online classes like Cindy has, and I really didn't. So I really didn't have very many technology issues. The thing I experienced most was internet issues.
Mhm.
There was about a week period where my internet was completely out, and they couldn't do anything to fix it.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, the only thing I've noticed is a few teachers having issues trying to put work up on Blackboard and trying to set Zoom meetings, just because it's new to everyone.
What you just mentioned is basically when your internet's out and all your classes are online, that's like missing class for a week,
Yeah,
and it's through no fault of your own. So those issues of access that you all have talked about are very real. I'll tease a little bit of good news this morning, although I don't have all the details of it. I've just learned last week, as many of you have, that we're going to receive a significant infusion of stimulus money in the next few weeks as well. And just as we were committed to passing through a lot of that money directly to students, we will be committed to passing through more of this money to students as well. I can't tell you when or how much yet, um, but I can tell you that it does look like there will be some additional fiscal resources to come out and help you in the coming weeks as well. Dr. Jackson?
Right, well, James kind of alluded to our next question where he talked about some faculty members who had a little bit of difficulty getting things to load or maybe setting up a Zoom. That is often common when they too were asked to switch to an online environment rather quickly. So are there any faculty or staff members at WVUP who have done something that really helped you during this pandemic time to really help you be successful in your education? If you could share some of those comments.
I'll go ahead and go. Professor Amy Strong. I had her for like 3 classes this semester, and she was bomb.com. Like, she was an amazing professor. Not only did she show us that professors are human as well, with her kids constantly running in and interrupting class, and her being completely honest and vulnerable with us. She was lenient, amazing. She was able to ask us what we needed, how we felt, and she was just like, she went out her way to be the best professor she could be. And she's amazing.
And I would add, probably very representative of a number of her peers as well. Thanks for sharing that.
And I would like to also add to that. I also had Amy, and it was really nice. I also had Andrew Walker, and I also had Chad. All of our teachers, with both the criminal justice and legal studies, they not only let you know that they were experiencing the same thing, they felt for you, they had a lot of compassion. They were very open to working with you on any problems you had. The only thing that the student had to do was speak up and say anything. They showed that um, they were struggling too, just like us. And I think that helps us as a student, knowing that they're down to earth like we are. They have the compassion and the heart, which is what I think a lot of us need going through it. So not only were they struggling, they were able to keep their hand reached out to keep picking up their students, which I think is an amazing thing.
I would like to say thank you for using the Ricky the Riverhawk texting tools, because I feel like just recently we received a text offering resources for us, and it like was home free fitness classes and emotional and physical health, job and internship searches, and social connections. I That's a great idea. A lot of us are struggling right now with all of those, and just being able to have some type of resource is a great idea for all of us. And I would also like to give a shout out to Dr. Lancaster, because he has always been by my side through this whole college journey. And especially during quarantine, I received an email almost daily from him saying, "How are you? Do you need anything?" He's just always there for you, has your back for all the students. So I'd like to thank him.
Gentlemen, anything you would add to the conversation about how you've been lifted up by faculty and staff in this pandemic?
As a student,
Yes.
I've been. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You
you
can
go.
go first.
Um, I had a Professor Danielle Kelly for English 101 this last semester, and just want to she was really good. She was there all the time. She always had her email open for us to schedule meetings if we ever had trouble. She would email us daily, asking if we need help, if we understood everything. She had a very nice schedule planned. Um, it was just really good. She was always supportive, always made sure we understood something before we continued. Same with Olivia Reeder. Her name's on here. She was excellent. Her basic news writing class was one of my favorites. She was also very supportive and encouraging, especially going into this first semester.
James, would you like to add anything to the conversation?
Yes, I have been incredibly blessed. Dr. Tori Jackson has helped me get an internship with the marketing department here at WVU Parkersburg. I've gotten a lot of experience that I hope translates into a real job, especially since I've just been incredibly lucky to have a job even right now.
Hmm. And you know what strikes me from your very warm comments, all of you, is that I know that if you're having these experiences, I extrapolate from that that your colleague students are having these experiences with these and other faculty and staff members as well. And that gratifies me and makes me want to pause yet again to thank the faculty and staff for how they have really risen up, not just with you, but for you. You know, it's a brave thing as a teacher, and I am still a teacher, even though I'm having the honor of being president right now. To take the risk and make yourself vulnerable and humanize yourself in front of your students is a brave thing, and it's a hard thing for some faculty and staff members to do. And yet, you've described beautifully that it's something that our faculty and staff have been doing this semester. A couple of you have alluded to the next question that I wanted to ask, but maybe you'd like to take it on more frontally. I hear a lot of feedback from students, and I value that so much. I try to make myself accessible so that the students know that I really want to hear from you. And I really do get so many phone calls, emails, things of that nature. And what I'm hearing consistently, in addition to all the good things that you're sharing, is that you really are struggling to feel connected to your peers during COVID-19 because it would be fair and accurate to say that I've taken a very conservative posture about face-to-face interaction, more conservative than most of the presidents in the country. And the reason for that is simple. I put your health and safety above every other consideration. But it doesn't mean that I don't know the other considerations are out there and that they're important. So I do know that our students are feeling a bit disjointed, a bit disconnected from singing karaoke like we used to do, or playing intramural sports, or meeting with your clubs, or things of that nature. How have you been impacted as far as your mental health, your socialization during the pandemic, and how could we as a university do more and better in helping you to stay connected with one another?
I'm going to go ahead and jump in with this one as well. So I had the honor of serving as president for Kappa Delta Pi this semester, which is our teaching organization. And it was just a struggle having our meetings on Zoom because, I mean, we weren't there with each other to bounce off ideas. We had limited members joining us. Like usually we have like incentives to have them come to the meetings, like free pizza. Who doesn't want free pizza during our lunch hour? And so we couldn't really have pizza together over Zoom. So that was kind of unfortunate and just hard to get members to really come in and join us. But we had so many plans for this semester that just kind of ended up falling through almost. But I mean, we're hopeful for the future. But as of right now, it's just not possible or feasible for us to do because of all the social distancing. And like, for example, we were going to do something for our partnership schools, like our new ones. And we were going to do something in the teachers lounge, but I mean, teachers lounges are kind of off limits right now because of the social distancing and not being able to bring in food for them, just things like that. So we couldn't even really give thanks to our partnership schools this semester that joined us. So we are, again, hopeful for the future, but it was still unfortunate this semester. But I mean, I'm grateful for all of the students who joined our group this semester, but that was another thing. We had limited new members because you had to do it online rather than having our in-person initiation, which is a big deal to us. We always do an initiation and then like a little get together afterwards with cake and celebration. So it was just sad to not be able to do that and to really honor those students in front of their families. So
I'll jump in on this next one. I'm part of the Legal Studies Society. We had a big thing planned, an event planned, and we had to cancel it, which was kind of disappointing and heartbreaking because we were hoping to bring more notice to the legal studies program and try and get more students involved and pull the community more involved in it. And we had some judges and attorneys lined up with it, but their support when we responded back to them of canceling the event, they were more than willing to wait and come again because they want to be part of WVUP, which was the exciting part. But we've not been able to meet to have that group. We've not even done Zoom meetings, stuff like that. So that part's been a struggle, feeling like we're part of the society of the college, not so much just the technology, the learning part of it, but I think in college, those groups help build you and help direct your career in what direction you want to go. So that's been a little bit of struggle for me, but thank goodness that Chad was really good with helping, because this event we were going to do was bringing into legal studies, there's many avenues of going with your career. And that's what we were hoping that this event that we were going to do, which Chad, as my capstone teacher, really got a hold of us and was really directing us on what direction to take our career and what our passions were. So, that as far as the college stepping in and helping do that, it means a lot to me.
For me, I felt very disconnected from everyone in my classes. For example, like one of the most exciting parts for me of going on campus every year is meeting new people, connecting with other students, forming study groups and stuff like that. It's really hard with Zoom because a lot of people don't even turn on their cameras. So for example, in my English class, she forced us to have like little group meetings all the time. And even though we were in like separate groups, nobody would turn on their camera. And everybody has a different kind of personality when they're on Zoom. It's not the same personality you get when you see them face to face. It's very difficult to make connections, make new friends. It's just lonely. I felt disconnected. I didn't feel like myself this semester. It was different for sure. And as far as what the university could do better, I don't think there's much you can do better. The situation has pushed us all into a corner, and you guys are doing the best you can. And I feel like you're doing a great job.
Similar to Michelle, I also had to work in little groups. I had art this past semester, and we had our breakout groups where we had to review each other's art, and it's not easy to connect like that. I was also lucky with my internship. I got to work on the graduation with some other students or some past students that I've met before, and I felt connection from that, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I agree with Michelle a lot, how being disconnected and everything, and how everything's different through Zoom, and how people have different personalities compared online to in person. Because like my English class also, everybody pretty much had their cameras off, and I would go just thinking the whole semester, like, well, what does this person look like? Because I get to hear what they sound like, and they sound like they might be like a heavy person, but then like I don't really know. And I like meeting new people, especially in classes, and making new friends. So that was kind of a letdown, but I completely understand. You guys are doing wonderful. You're doing the best you can. And
Thank you all for that. I heard the words
I'm totally
lonely.
supportive of what you guys are doing.
Thank you. I heard the words lonely and sad, and those words make me lonely and sad because my emotions cue off of the emotions that I'm feeling from all of you. And I want you to know I feel like the Grinch who stole Halloween, and then the Grinch who stole Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and now the Grinch who has stolen New Year's. And Valentine's Day is not looking too promising either this semester. And I want you to know that every time that you want to do something face to face, and I have to say no to it, that it's with a heavy heart. It grieves me because the role that I feel for our students, I'm old enough now, even those of you who are a bit older and have children, I can be in a parental role for you now, and that really is the role that I feel. But I am optimistic, cautiously, as vaccines are coming out and new things are happening. That the end isn't soon, but the end is in sight. And it's possible that this may be the last semester for a while. It's not a proclamation that I want you to hear me making, but it's possible that we may be able to move even later this semester into doing some more things that are more face to face. One of the things that I'm so proud of is your own student government association proactively came to me and said that they wanted to be trained and in the art of peer mediation and peer facilitation so that they could reach out as student resources to other students who just need somebody to talk to. But you've reinforced what I already believed to be the case, that no matter how hard we try, there is a sense of isolation. And I want you to know that we will continue working on that and looking for ways to build some bridges where that's concerned. Tori.
So we all arrive at college for different reasons, and we're curious to know why you guys decided to attend college and if the pandemic in any way has changed your view of receiving a college education. We do know from our chat bot that some people could not continue because they needed to work and they had other issues in their family that required them to step away. So at this point in time, you all have persisted, and we just want to know what your viewpoint is of a college education.
I will open this one. To make a long story short, me and my late husband owned a local business here for several years. He passed away. I had no education at the time, and I was determined to go back to school. So I had a lot of support behind me for the community to go back to school. However, I was very scared, and I was lucky to receive a beautiful lady that helped push me. I was only going to go part-time, and she got a hold of my schedule and said, no, you can do full-time, because I was working. And this is Tori. She has been a good mentor. And I think from the beginning of my experience in college, if I've not got a hold of somebody like Tori, I would have probably dropped out. I have a learning disability. I really struggle in school and staying in that. But the college has really been a support, not just Tori, but there's been many other teachers that have been encouraging and pushing, but it's hard. I've almost gave up this semester. Actually, during the summer, I about quit and walked away. And I just had some people, from the college and other sources just re-encourage me and push me, because financially I'm struggling, just like probably everybody on here is, to keep my head up, keep my float up. And it's hard to keep a positive mind and stay going. But what has helped me is having that support. So when I've had to go into school for a few little things, and talking, that connection and that motivation has helped me hang on to the strings that I've been holding on. So thank God, hopefully this summer I graduate with my bachelor's. So the support of the college is much needed. Thank you very much.
Cindy, I remember you from some of my classes because you're one of the only people other than me that turned on their cameras. And I would have never known you had a learning disability because you spoke so eloquently and you always had things to chime in. So I think you're doing great, and you did great. So
I love you because you're a motivation. I love your zest for life and your passion for what you're doing. And that helps me too a lot in class, is having your, and that, I think that's another thing, like you're saying, is I think that's during our classes, like
Yeah.
Amy's and Walker's. I think we helped push each other.
We really did.
That motivation, you know, so
Yeah.
that was really nice too, as the students too came together.
Yeah, I agree.
You are
But,
awesome.
if you don't mind repeating the question though, because I got so into her response that I don't remember what was the actual question.
Sure. We're curious to know if the importance of college has changed for you in any way because of the pandemic.
The importance of college has not changed for me. College is just as important, but I am an overachiever. And for example, the prior semester, I took 18 credits. I got a 4.0 semester. This semester, like fall semester, I took 21 credits. I also got a 4.0 semester. And this semester, this next semester, I'm only registered for 12 credits because I was just so overwhelmed with having 21 credits online that I just could not do that. I cried so much last semester. It was awful. So this semester, I was like, I cannot register for more than 12 credits. And at first I even asked my advisor, Amy Strong, to approve 19 credits for me. But as time got closer to register for class to start, I decided to drop them. I was like, I just can't this semester, but I will as soon as we get back on campus. So that's the only thing that's really changed for me, was the fact that I don't feel like I can take on as many classes, because I am taking on homeschooling and I'm taking on work and two jobs on the side, from work study and an extra job. So it's just a lot, and I can't put that stress on myself again.
I was kind of in the same situation as Michelle. I also did the 18 and 21 credit hours, and it just really put another stress on my plate, and I really did overwhelm myself. And like she said, she's an overachiever. I feel the same way. I just put a lot on my plate, but I also know you wanted to eat, so you can't really complain. You just got to keep working towards it. So yeah, this semester it was a struggle to really find my motivation still, because I was just stuck at home, and it's just like, oh, but Netflix is right there. So, but at the same time, I knew that teaching is my dream, and these kids are at home, maybe not with their parents, but maybe with their grandparents who don't know how to work, like Schoology, for those of you who are familiar with Schoology and the homeschool situation. So I was sitting there, you know, like, what can I do to help these students? I'm not the full-time teacher yet, but I'm their student teacher. So what can I do to help my teacher? And my participating teacher actually got diagnosed with COVID. So I kind of say, you know, let me do what I can, because it's good for me to learn from experience, and it's also good for you to rest while you're sick. So it kind of worked out for me to just really step into her shoes, and she was there to guide me. And again, Dr. Lancaster, he really motivated me the whole time. Financially, it was a struggle because during COVID, I did break my foot, so I couldn't do my serving job anymore. But Dr. L made sure I had a job in the office to help financial hardships during the time, and he has helped me for the upcoming semester. And I've also just recently taken another position outside of school and work study at Kohl's. So I'm working 2 jobs now. So financial hardships are still there, but I've also had plenty of support from community and WVP. So.
I'll go next. I believe that college education is even more important now, seeing as how we can see like the light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully more jobs will be opening up soon when the US is ready for it. So I feel like we need more people to have that proper college education. So that's why I feel it's more important now than ever. And I didn't really know what I was wanting to do until like I graduated high school, and I was lucky enough to meet Dr. Jackson and go into digital communications and be a work study for her and have her as my mentor, because I want to go into radio, and I've always just wanted my voice to be heard in the world. And she's a very open-minded, vocal person. I'm just very glad to have her as a mentor and be able to work along with study and do all that kind of stuff.
College has always been incredibly important to me. And as Joseph was alluding to, Um, not many, there aren't many jobs open currently, and I think any advantage is will be helpful to you, and I think college is definitely an advantage for
I'm
somebody
so
trying to get a job.
I'm so gratified to hear you all say that. I'm sorry, James, um, because I don't want you to lose sight of your dreams during this time. I don't want this pandemic to win, and it will have won if you become discouraged and don't follow through with what your dreams are. So I'm so glad to hear you say that that's not happening. And Joseph said he wanted his voice to be heard in the world. I want every one of your voices to be heard in the world. And what gratifies me so much about your answers to this question is that you don't just have faculty and staff lifting you up, but I see now that you have each other lifting you up as well. I see that happening, you know, in this conversation of ways that you're lifting each other up, and no doubt other student colleagues as well. So I thank you all for that. And I want to ask you to follow up if you have anything to add on something that a couple of you mentioned in your opening remarks, which is why stay close to home for your education. You may have noticed our advertising campaign this past semester has focused a lot on what Dr. Jackson and I are calling feels like home. That's been a tag word that we've used a lot this semester in a lot of the advertising we've done. WVUP feels like home. Um, is it important to you knowing that you could have gone far away for your education if you chose to? It would have been hard for some of you, particularly those of you who have close roots here in the community, but it would have been possible. Has it been a part of your decision to stay close to your family and your roots as far as coming to WVUP, or has staying near to home during the pandemic not been a major point of consideration for you?
So I started off at WVU in Morgantown, and being away from home was not really my thing. And so I moved back home. I would come home every single weekend from there. I was never the type to go out on the weekends. I was just study through the week and then go home to Tyler County on the weekends and come back on Monday. So I never really experienced the whole big city culture shock. But when I moved back home and I started going to WVP, I was driving every day, and I loved being back home. I mean, I could still coach cheerleading back in Tyler County and still have the tight knit community experiences in both areas, both Tyler County and Wood County, because during in the program we would go to like the Boys and Girls Club down here. So I was able to experience more coming home and being close to home for college because I was able to tie in both communities. And I felt like that helped a lot.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this notion of staying close to home and staying with who and what you know during the pandemic?
Um, since we moved here, because my family, we used to live in Grantsville in Calhoun County. I've always kind of like made up my mind to go here to WVP because this is where my family's at. I don't really have anybody out there outside of West Virginia, Morgantown. Like most of my friends, they have family down like Florida or North Carolina, and that's where they go to college at. I've mostly been here, and just like how it's just so local, and like I have my family here to support me. It's just a big decision in that.
I have really had a choice. I had to stay here because I have a little girl. However, there is other local community colleges, but I kept with WVUP because of the family, the tight knit, and the support that they give me as a student. The resources they have just made me want to stay at WVUP and not go anywhere else.
Everybody who's listening within the sound of my voice, hear what she just said. She chose us over anybody else because we feel like a family. That's a conscious choice that we make as a community every day. And we have our students telling us that that's why they're choosing to be with us as opposed to being with anybody else. Anybody else want to add to that? You don't have to feel like you have to answer every single question. Just if you have something you'd like to share.
I chose WVUP because it was close. It's close to home, and that really makes a difference. Um, I've also been lucky, and since I live close to my original home, I live in Ripley, and I've lived in Ripley in Jackson County since I was probably 3 months old. My parents are there, and they have been helpful with my kids during the pandemic.
Mhm. Dr. Jackson?
So we always look for moments of joy, especially in a pandemic. A lot of us are positive people and we like to continue to stay that way. So could you share with us a moment of joy that you've had in this last semester?
I can. So I wrote this course paper for it was either my criminology class or one of the criminal justice classes. They all seem to blend together when you're online, especially when it's just all criminal justice classes. But I wrote a course paper and I worked really hard on it. And then I got my review back and I got 100 points for it. And I remember literally crying of joy because Professor Strong's comment was that it was she said, "This is a graduate level paper. I can tell how hard you worked on it. I'm so proud of you." And it was just amazing. It felt really good. It felt like my hard work had paid off. So that was a really joyous moment for me.
I'm kind of like her on the same thing. I had a paper that was turned in, and it was a major paper for the class. And the teacher personally reached out and talked to me. And being the background that I have, she said it was the best paper in the class and that it was really professional. And it hit a high point for me because I've never had that. So that was a very, joyful moment for me. So you had to celebrate a little bit.
Something tells me for both of you and all the rest of you, that's a first. That's not a last. Something tells me there'll be more of those moments for all of you that are with us here this morning. What about the rest of you? Has there been anything that's been a moment of joy for you in this time of challenge?
Mine is very similar. It was definitely a paper. It was a diagnostic report. And in my Education 412 class, we all had to write one. We all had a tutoring student in the book club, and we had to do pre-test and post-testing, which didn't quite happen because of the shutdown of the schools again. So we kind of got cut short with our post-testing. So we were all kind of concerned about, how are we going to write this diagnostic report and really just explain how the student improved throughout the semester. And because that was a big part of the diagnostic report grading, and we were all just kind of concerned about that. And we all, worked together, shared ideas, explained how we were going to go about it. And when we got our scores back, all of us did really well. So in our group message, it's just blowing up, I got this, I got that. And we were all doing well. So we were all supporting each other and proud of each other. So that was a big moment of success and relief to the end of the semester.
Gentlemen, what's made you happy this semester?
I've had a lot of things that made me happy this semester, work-wise and school-wise. One of my favorite things school-wise was probably helping one of my friends pass English because she was really struggling. And so I would Zoom call with her and help her get through these quizzes and help her study. We would have these little study sessions. And another one would be for our final paper. I've never really been good at English and essays, and I've just been terrible. But I got this one back, and I got 105 on it. It wasn't full points, but still, it was pretty close. And she's like, "This is your best one yet. This is really good. I look forward to more or less in the future," and that just made me really happy.
Yeah, 105 doesn't sound too terrible to me. I don't know about the rest of you. James, anything to add here?
Yes, I was able to write and produce 2 radio commercials for the WVU Parkersburg radio station, 96.3 The Beat.
That's excellent. One of the things I'm the proudest of that we've started over the past couple of years, and I promise you we will continue to grow it on the other side of this pandemic, is our experiential learning program, where our students have the opportunity to learn by doing and build portfolios of professional quality work while you're still studying at WVUP. And I'm glad to hear that that's paying off for you. I have but one more question, and then we will have a little bit more time. So if those who are listening, uh, uh, faculty members, staff members, any others who are listening out there would want to send any comments or any questions for our student panel, I will not be smart enough to find those, but the good news is that Dr. Jackson will. And there'll be some time for the students to answer any questions that you have. But my last question of the students is this: what would you say to people in authority leading the nation right now, and those of us leading WVUP right now? If you had to tell us one thing, one tangible thing that we could do that would make your life easier during this pandemic, what would you tell us?
Lead by example. Keep your heads up so that we could keep our heads up, because if we see you guys failing, then it'll be easier for us to fail as well, just because leading by example is important.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for this beautiful new face that you've added to our conversation as well. Hello, sweetheart. Who else has something to say as far as what you would suggest to the people in leadership?
I would like to suggest that we unite. We find the middle ground for each other. No matter who we are, what our background is, where we come from, we're still people. We still beat with the same heart, and we have to find common ground to put the hatred, the anger aside, and work together to find that middle. Because no matter how you view, we all have the same goals and intention, and we just need to find that common ground. And like Michelle said, we need to have them to be strong for us and to hold us up in a positive way and to put the negative down around us.
Well said.
I agree with Cindy and Michelle a lot. We need to keep our head up. WVP just needs to keep doing what they're doing because they're doing great. But yeah, for our leaders, they just need to be positive and be a good role model, because we're doing what based off of what they're doing. And I agree with Cindy how we just all need to be one. Like one of my favorite Black Panther quotes: we need to see each other as we're one tribe together. So yeah.
So to the college in general as a whole, I would just like to say thank you for everything you've done to try to help all the students and the faculty. And just maybe one suggestion is to like open more lines of communication to each other. That's the biggest thing right now is communication, because we are all lacking that. So, but thank you for everything you guys have done.
We can't communicate too much. You're right about that. James, anything to offer us by way of suggestion?
I'm just excited to move forward with things and get back on a face-to-face basis.
Well, we're all excited about that. Your president is an extrovert. I think most of you have learned that by now. And sitting in isolation in my office fights against everything that I am. And I will promise you this much. We will rise to the challenge that you gave us of leading by example. Every morning when I get out of bed, before I even get out of bed, it occurs to me, and I take a moment and reflect on the fact that you are watching me. You're watching to see what we get right. You're watching to see what we get wrong, and we will get things wrong from time to time. But when we do, we will admit it openly in the light of day, and we'll learn from it. And we will continue to try to be the role models that you have a right to expect us to be. And I may have another word or two to say at the end, which won't be a surprise to anybody. But before we get there, Dr. Jackson, are there any comments or any questions from the community for our student panel this morning?
Well, as always, there are lots of comments from our faculty and staff, just excited to be online together and just saying hello and all of that great stuff too. And some students are also leaving comments about some other faculty members, some students who aren't part of this conversation, but all of our students are always welcome to be part of our conversations. Yeah. We did have one faculty member who wanted to know, how did you guys decide your major? What made you choose your career path?
When I first began my course at WBUP, actually my educational course completely, I was a biology major. I was pre-med. And then I had kids, so I dropped out of school. I came back to WBUP, started as a nursing major. And sorry. And then I changed my major to criminal justice because I have experience. I grew up in a very abusive home, and I wanted to give children like me a voice. So I aspire to be a lawyer to help kids and be an advocate to child abuse victims like I was. So I found my passion in that when I heard Professor Walker. He was talking. I overheard him talking one day. I was walking by his hallway because he talks really loud and he's very talkative, period. And I overheard a conversation with him and another student, and it really intrigued me. So I walked in and asked him who he was, and he told me he was a criminal justice advisor. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, I think I want to switch. And so I switched in that moment to criminal justice.
Michelle says she found her passion. It sounds to me like a lot of you online with us this morning have found your passion. And I think that's what makes the difference. And I think that's the reason you all are doing so well. It's because you have found your passion and you're working toward that. And I hope that all of our other students will as well. Anybody else want to share your story of how you came to your major and your career plans? I think technology's frozen one or two of us this morning. I hope you'll be back in a minute. Any of you whose bodies I see moving want to share? Shayla.
I'll go. So mine is the typical ever since I was a little girl speech, but I remember getting old workbooks. Like every so often, schools obviously get new textbooks and workbooks for the upcoming school year. So in second grade, my teacher sent home with us at the end of the year for the summer our old textbooks and workbooks, and I took them home and I stashed them all. And when my friends would come over, or my little sister, I would, fight to be the teacher. And so I just always wanted to be the leader and to help somebody learn and overcome something. So being a teacher was my little girl dream, and it's still my big girl dream. So
I always wanted to help somebody learn. What a wonderful turn of phrase that is. And something tells me the people who are watching you and listening to your voice out there, that that's something that they all felt and that they continue to feel as well.
Mine's kind of like since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be an artist. I love art. I like to do it in my free time. But here lately, I've felt more people get hurt like through radio and stuff like that. I remember listening to radio as a kid, and they always sound like they have so much fun and they do different things. And so I've always wanted to do that lately. And then I met Tori, and she has such fun time with it and very influential. And so I've been wanting to do that. I've also been thinking about I love history in school, high school. I've always loved history. It was one of my favorites. The history teachers, I don't know why, if it's a stereotype or what, but they're always the coolest. They always seem the coolest. They always have the most fun with it. So I've also thought about becoming like a history teacher maybe in the future.
I know at least two faculty members I could think of whose faces just lighted up out in Cyberland when you said that history professors are the coolest ones. Maybe more than two, but I could think of two off the top of my head. So Anybody else want to share about how you came to the path that you're on? Any other questions or comments out there, Dr. Jackson?
Sure. I would like for the students who are on here to know that you're getting a lot of positive comments, even from faculty that have had you in class and from those who have not had you, but are thankful that you were willing to share your stories today. There are some faculty who are thinking about the possibility of asking their students to come in one-on-one, face-to-face, to teach them a little bit more about Zoom. How do you feel about that idea?
I feel like that's a great idea. I mean, one of my professors last semester, I won't say their name, but there was a lot of trouble and she was asking us to help her a lot. So it was kind of hard telling her through Zoom how to figure it out when she was freezing up all the time. I think that'd be a very good idea. And it'll get you one on one with the professor, let them like get to know you a little bit, get like the feel.
Mhm.
I agree with Joseph, not just like with the one-on-one, maybe not just about Zoom, but also to get to know each other and to maybe get a new vision of what the course is going to offer and who the professor is and who we are, maybe form a connection that we might not be able to form on Zoom, but we would form in person.
And that's the others shaking their heads. I'll be honest with you, that one makes me a little nervous and gives me a moment of pause when I'm trying to build social distance between people. But I'm also charged with trying to build community among people. So I'm listening to that suggestion and trying to think of ways that we might be able to do that safely. Because I do agree that there's no substitution for the opportunity to share a space with somebody. So we will definitely look for ways to make that possible for you in the coming semester. What else, Tori?
I don't see any particular questions right now, but I may be having a technology issue as well. Again, a lot of great comments, and even the history folks are now getting some nice comments out there. So,
Yeah, and I had to chuckle when Joseph was saying that he had to give some technical assistance to his teacher about how to do things online because people have to give me technical assistance pretty much all day, every day about how to do the things that I have called on to do online. And I think that faculty and staff members have been called to yield some of the authority that is usually theirs in the classroom because of this. And I think that is a very good thing. It may sound a little bit insurrectionist in saying that, but I don't mind. I think a flipped classroom in which the students are empowered to be teachers to each other and teachers to the official teachers. In addition to the teachers being teachers themselves, is the very best possible mode of learning. I want to say to the students this morning, thank you again. You proved, as I knew you would, I always believe that students will show up and show out, and you did. You proved my belief that your voices are more eloquent than mine. Your voices are more insightful and fundamentally more important. Because nothing that I had to say to this group this morning could possibly have been as rich and as important as what you shared with them. I think that I've said this a lot of times, I've even said it in publications. The greatest arrogance of higher education is that the student voice is often left out of the conversations that are the most important in the lives of the student. And we may be guilty of some things, but we will not be guilty of that at WVU Parkersburg. We will always put your voices at the center of what we do. My heart is too full this morning, which will be good news for some of you, to fill up the rest of the time with talking and being a talking head. I will, however, do that at 9 a.m. on Friday. For anybody who wants to tune in, there'll be an open question and answer with the president Friday morning at 9 o'clock. I don't hide from any question, as you all ought to know about me by now. So come back at 9 o'clock on Friday and I'll answer any questions that you have. And if there's not enough time allocated that day, we'll do another Q&A in the next week to make sure that there's time for everybody to to have a fair answer from me for any questions that you have. Don, I'm going to put you on the spot. As the leader of our Board of Governors, how has this experience been from you, and what would you say to our students as the leader of our institution this morning? And you're on mute right now, Donna. You're still on mute.
Conversation we have all the time, right? I would have to say I'm very impressed with what I've heard today. I'm very proud of the work that you're all doing. To be able to continue to pursue your education. I mean, none of this is easy. And I think many of you have had extremely difficult situations, and yet you have persevered and you've said, I'm going to make this work. And that's an incredible example to others. And I'm certainly pleased to hear the things we're doing well. I also would say I don't want you to hesitate to tell us the things we're not doing well. If there are things that can help you that we have the ability to do, we certainly want to know that. I personally would say I'd like to, from just listening to you, I'd like to see more people put their cameras on during classes. And I know that is frustrating. I find it frustrating in Zoom calls too, for meetings that I have when people don't. I understand there are sometimes reasons people don't, but I think that helps in engagement. So the more we can encourage people to do that where they're able, I think it's helpful to all of you, because you can certainly make a better connection when you can see somebody. And that would be helpful. But I think you're all an inspiration, and I hope that very soon, we'll be back in a situation where it makes it all easier for everyone. But I think it's quite an example that you're all setting and what you've accomplished in this very difficult time. So thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I like the word you chose, inspiration. I couldn't improve on that word. That's what I feel this morning, is inspired. And for all of those who are listening in on Facebook Live and YouTube this morning, I hope that you feel inspired as well. You will know that there are very few things that I require every employee of the university to participate in, because I believe more in choice and people showing up where they want to show up. But I'm not sorry, not one bit, that I required every employee of the college to be here to listen to what these remarkable people had to share this morning. And students, I want to thank you one more time, both individually and representative of the student body as a whole, for being here. I hope everybody will have a great professional development week this week. Hope everybody will have a great first week of class next semester. And Dr. Jackson, I'm going to leave it with you for anything that you would want to say in closing, and if you want to share anything about what you know of the rest of the week schedule as well.
Sure, you're going to find an email from communications in your email box, and that will give you the directions on all of the events this week. Again, you can tune in on Facebook and YouTube Live on Friday morning to hear more from the president. And I would just like to say that students help keep us a little trendy. And so Michelle shared with us bomb.com today, and I would say that that's what you guys are. I may use it inappropriately and you could let me know, but I'm going to say that these 5 students are the bomb.com. How's that?
And I'm going to say I like the idea of being a little bit trendy. That doesn't happen very often. That does not happen very often in my life anymore. So everybody take care. Thanks so much for being here, and have a great day. Goodbye.